Hiya, my name's Paul. I'm Head of Biology at Longroad Sixth Form College. I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about why Longroad is a good place to come to do biology, and then we're going to talk to some of our students about their experience as well. Okay, first slide, look, this just shows you some of the students doing biology and chemistry. About half our students who do biology do chemistry as well. And you can see a couple of our students up here. That's Oscar and Parser, and doing some lab work. There's Kit down there. And one of the students, good use of modern technology with a mobile phone, took that photograph down a microscope. So something we encourage. Appropriate use of mobile phones is absolutely fine. And actually got a really nice photograph down a microscope. So really nice thing to do. This is showing the team of teachers at Longroad, and we've all been here quite a long time, and some of us longer than we care to remember. But there's kind of me in the middle in more youthful days, and then top right we've got Shyster. Shyster is she's got a PhD, so she worked as a postdoc for quite a few years as a research scientist, and then came into teaching. So her experience of working in the lab actually has been really useful for a lot of our students. Then we've got Mark, bottom right. Mark's had an interesting career. He started out in Australia doing marine biology, diving on the Great Barrier Reef and doing exciting stuff like that. And then eventually came back to Britain and worked in London as a haematologist for many years as well, and then came into teaching. So again, he brings a lot to the department and support for the students. Anyone who's interested in those kind of fields can have a chat with Mark. Bottom left, look, we've got Teresa. She's our lab technician. Teresa's been in Cambridge for many years, working in science for many years. And if you've heard of the Human Genome Project, which was a lot of work was done at the Sanger Centre just outside Cambridge, Teresa worked there during that time. So she was doing a lot of the lab work for the scientists who were sorting out the human genome. And again, Teresa's experience is really valuable to us as a team. And then top left, we've got Denise. Denise is very much a molecular biologist and studied and worked in the USA for a number of years as well, looking at things like base sequencing in DNA. So between us, we've got a wide range of experience. All of us have done things outside of teaching. Myself, I was more environmental biology, did a master's in environmental education, worked in kind of countryside stuff for many years before coming into teaching. And I think it does help when teachers have done something else outside of education. So a really strong team, and we do work together and we do share resources. The idea being really that if we share resources, then what the students get is the best we can collectively produce, which we think is a good thing. This slide is just talking about the three-way partnership between the college, the students and parents or carers. And the big one here really is this one between the students and the college. So if as a college, if as teachers, we get things right, and if students do the right things, then there's success at the end of that. Parents, of course, are involved as well, usually in a very positive way, in a supportive way, but sometimes we have to talk to parents about students who aren't doing the right things as well. Parents are kept informed about attendance and what we call key assessments, the big tests through the year. All that information is made available to them. But this connection between the students and the college is a big one. And as I say, if we get our bit right and students get their bit right, then it all comes together very successfully. And that's exactly what's happened in biology over the years, where we've striven to improve what we do, and we have been very successful. And the next slide I want to show you was just trying to show you the success that we have reached very recently. Now, those of you who know a bit about value added, this is talking about what grades did students arrive with, and then what grades did they leave with. And the government do these analysis based on GCSE data and looking at then A-level grades. And what you can see from this, I don't want to kind of blind you with data, but where it says 0%, that's what you would expect. So if you're on the 0% line, that's exactly as you'd expect. If you look at our attendance, for example, the attendance is exactly the same as nationally. The national average for attendance is the same at Long Road in biology, fine. But when you go above the line, that's good. If you go above the yellow shading, that puts you in the top 25% of sixth forms in the country for your subject. And if you go above the red line, it puts you in the top 16% in the country. So you can see retention. Long Road is not about chucking kids off courses because they're not coping. We support kids through the 2 years of the programme. And you can see, look, we do it way better than most sixth form colleges do. So that's a huge tick for us. The pass rate, look, puts us above that yellow shading in the top 25% just for the pass rates for our students. Achievement, which is looking at pass rate and the grades they get, way above national average, look, very high, way above the 16%. That probably puts us in about the top 10% in the country. High grades, B's, A's and A stars, again, we're way above what we should be getting, which is great. These little codes down here, this is grades per starter, grades per completer, grades per achiever. But if we just take this one, grades per starter, so what did the kids, of all the kids who started, what do they end up with? 0.61, 0.5 means half a grade. So if it was at 0.5, it means we're adding on half a grade more than you'd expect nationally. So what that shows, that for every kid who starts, the average is 0.61 grades higher than they would expect to get nationally. So we're adding value. I want to show, this is from 2019, the last time we had exams. And when I showed this data to some heads of biology at local schools, they were astonished, actually. One of them, a significant local centre, and they said to me, how on earth did you manage to get results like that? It looks like a Manhattan skyline, which was fantastic. So we've worked really hard to develop systems to teach and support students, and it's clearly working. So we're very proud of these results and are confident that they will continue to be like this, if not better, as time goes on. Let's have a look at our next student. This is Noah. He left Long Road 2 summers ago, so he's now in his second year at university and he's doing medicine down in Plymouth. And I wanted to mention Noah because we have now got this, what we call Med Squad or Med and Vet Squad. It's aimed at people who want to do medicine, vet and dentistry as well. And the idea is that we support these students. It's very difficult to get into those courses more than anything else, really. And we are here for them. We are here to support them. So Noah's in our Med Squad. I mean, through year 1, it's just really trying to build a good personal statement for year 2. And then in year 2, we practice interviews with them. And Noah's a product of that. And this photograph was taken on results day in 2019. And he's smiling because he's got into med school, which was really, really difficult thing to do. And since we've had this Med Squad for the last 3 years, we've got kids into medicine and vet every year. So it's really working and it's looking really promising for this year's cohort as well. So if you are interested in medicine, vet or dentistry, we have got a dedicated sort of society for you, our Med Squad. This is talking about the syllabus that we do, which is EdXLA, also called Salters-Nuffield. And it's something that students and parents don't always realise. There are significant differences between A-level syllabuses. The government do control the content, and 2/3 of it is determined by the government, and 2/3 of it is the same for all exam boards. But 1/3 is up for grabs, and this is the bit that kind of makes them different. So if you compared our syllabus, EdXLA, with what most local schools do, which is the OCR syllabus, 2/3 of it is identical, but 1/3 of it is different, and these are worth looking at. And things like that, I've just written down a few things here that we do in EdXLA, which is not done by the other 2 big syllabuses, OCR and AQA. And we like them because, as it says on the screen, it's a very contemporary syllabus. It's very kind of up to date, and we've done it since 2008. And since that time, our results have really improved. And I think the syllabus is a big part of that. So things like atherosclerosis or heart disease, the ethics of animal research. So just across the road from us on the Adam Brooks campus, we've got Cancer Research UK, and in their basement, they showed us the rats and they give them brain tumours. There's an ethical discussion to be had there. Should that be going on? So that's part of our syllabus. Drug testing, like clinical trials, and also historical drug testing going back into the 18th century, is on the syllabus. Very topical because of the whole COVID thing. Everyone's talking about drug trials at the minute, so we do cover that as well. Another big thing we do, global warming, particularly sort of end of year 1 into year 2, which is a massive thing that we should all be talking about. Conservation of species, which is always on the news. And the last one I was going to mention was drugs in sport, which again, highly relevant, you know, about why is it the British cycling team all seem to need asthmatic inhalers? You know, what is going on? Is there something dodgy going on there? What do people do with drugs in sport? Why do they do it? Should we change the rules to allow drugs in sport? All these things get discussed. Students love all this. They see it on the news and they want to come in and talk about it. So we think this syllabus, not as traditional, much more contemporary, and the students at Long Road much prefer the content and are much more successful on this syllabus. This slide is just talking about how we assess in biology. All exam. We used to have coursework, it's all gone. Maybe it'll come back one day, I don't know, but it's all exams. So at the end of year 2, under normal circumstances, you'd have 3 exams, each one is 2 hours long. A bit like we used to have back in the old days. So there we are. So biology doesn't have any coursework, it's all exam. What can you do with biology A level? So this one's trying to say, well, okay, look, you could do 3 A levels, and students commonly do things like biology, PE, psychology, or biology, chemistry, maths, or biology, chemistry, history. There's a whole range of things. It depends what your vision is for your future. Where am I trying to go in the future? What I want to do? What subjects do I need to study? What subjects do I want to study? But you can also mix and match. So sort of bottom right, look here. It might be you're doing, I don't know, biology A level and history A level and applied science maybe as a diploma. Or here it could be you're doing maybe media, double diploma and biology. So you can mix and match it. Any combination that you want, really. All we ask is there a reason for this combination? Is it sort of a big plan you're working to, or is it just because it's something you really want to do? As long as there's a good reason, we can go with it. What do you do outside of the classroom? So I've put down the left-hand side here some of the trips that we do, some of the events that we do. The 3 girls there, we got Tilly on the left and Gabby in the middle and Olivia on the right. They left this summer and they're looking pleased with themselves because they've been off to the Plant Sciences Department at Cambridge University and did some cutting edge technology called gene editing. And what they've got is photographs there is of their edited genes. Now, the professor who set this day up for the students, he did say to me that the gene editing equipment using this CRISPR-Cas9 stuff, it's very expensive, and normally they don't use it with undergraduates, but they put on this event for local school children. And we took a whole minibus of kids down, but they're absolutely delighted that they got it to work. And it's an amazing thing. The whole gene editing thing is amazing, and it was very inspirational for them to go along. But you can see on the list, look, there's lots of events we do. St John's College, Young Farmers, that's a pharmaceutical thing. We always go to Baberham, take the students there to do some science. The Sanger Centre have often got things on. I've mentioned Plant Sciences, the LMB on the Adam Brooks campus. We went there for a mitochondrial thing about mitochondrial diseases. Bristol University, we took a bus load of students down to Bristol to have a look at the various courses there. Medical Research Council, we've had trips there as well. Cancer Research UK, which is literally 5 minutes from Long Road, just across the campus at Adam Brooks. We've taken students there. AstraZeneca are just relocating onto the Adam Brooks campus from Granter Park. We haven't visited the new building yet, but we used to go and visit them in Granta Park, and they'd show us around their labs. And the one we like the best, the Gurdon Institute, which we've developed very strong links with. They're in Tennis Court Road in Cambridge, and they do a lot of work looking at cancer, but they use things like cloned frogs and fruit flies. And they do a really nice day there. We take a minibus of students down there, and they do like an inspirational talk. Then they get the microscopes out. Then they show the students around the building. But what's really nice is not just let's go and look at the labs. They actually interact with the scientists as well. And the scientists stop what they're doing and talk to the students. Highly inspiring, and it's definitely our favourite trip of the year. This is just saying what can you do with biology A level, essentially. 2/3 of our students do go on to higher education, some kind of university degree. About 1/3 don't, and they're looking for work or apprenticeships. The modern apprenticeships are definitely worth looking at. Some of them, you do them, say, for 4 or 5 years, and while you're doing your apprenticeship, you're studying as well. And that may well lead on to a degree, and the company pays all of your university fees. So you don't have the £9,250 a year tuition fees to pay. If you're living at home, you're not paying all the accommodation fees, and most students do stay local with apprenticeships, and they pay you as well. You'll get a salary of about £15,000 a year. So, you know, at the end of your 4 or 5 years, you've been earning money, you haven't got a student debt, you get a degree, and 99 times out of 100, they employ you because you've been working with them for 4 or 5 years, and they want you. So apprenticeships are a great thing to do as well. And more of our students are looking to do apprenticeships. They are competitive for sure, but well worth doing. Looking at some of our previous students, what people call our alumni. So on the left, we've got Jack, and Jack's really interesting. He came to Long Road with, what should we say, modest GCSEs, not good enough to do A levels. So he went on to our level 2 course, essentially redoing GCSEs, made a big success of it. Then he went on to A levels. So he was with us for 3 years, and he found himself an apprenticeship as a DNA scientist. And I spoke to him last week. He sent me this photograph. He's working at the Sanger Centre on COVID, running his own lab, happy as Larry, and he's been there about 18 months now. So he's a big success. In the middle, we've got James. James was with us many years ago, but what's interesting about James is his sort of history. So he did marine biology as a degree, then he did an MSc in Ireland in marine biology, and the last we heard, he was in Sweden doing a fish farming PhD. We haven't heard from him for a while, and that PhD is probably finished by now. So I guess he's out in the world of work. But again, another huge success story for Long Road, and went on to become a doctor. And on the right, we've got Julienne, who wants to be a doctor. She's just started med school. So she finished 2 summers ago, and last year was accepted to do medicine. And you can see the grades she got were very high. From day one, she always wanted to do medicine, a very determined, very hardworking student. And I spoke to her last week, and she said, yeah, med school's tough, but she's learning how to be successful, and she's determined to make a success of it. So that's just a flavour of the students we've had in the past, a whole range, right from sort of GCSE students to those who are looking at, you know, the more high-flying, very academic courses. Okay, now at this point, I want to bring in some of our own students who have been very patiently waiting. And the first one I want to talk to, if I can get this to work, is Leo. And Leo's one of our second year students. So I'm just going to get Leo up on the screen for us. Hi, Leo. Good to see you.
Hi.
Got some questions for you, Leo. So
yes.
Just give us your honest answers to these fairly random questions. Okay. So the first one, sort of, because we're doing this sort of lockdown at the minute, and you're in college one week, you're not in college the next week. And the question, Leo, what's it like doing this virtual learning?
It has gotten much better. I mean, obviously when we started there was a few hiccups and getting used to it, but now when we have lessons online, it's honestly like we just have lessons regularly in college. there's not much difference apart from that we're looking at you through a laptop than rather via our actual eyes with no barriers.
Yeah, and actually being at home for that week that you're at home and you're having your lessons at home, I mean, presumably like you're not having to travel into college and stuff, are you? So you're having a bit of a lay-in?
Yeah.
Does that make it good as well?
Yeah, it does actually.
Yeah, see, I don't get that. I got to come into work and do the laptop thing. It'd be nice if I could be at home, but I think that is a nice part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, another one for you, Leo. Do you have to wear a uniform?
No, you don't.
No, certainly not. No. And I think one of the great joys of Long Road is seeing all the colourful students.
Yes, yeah, you can definitely express yourself however you want, within reason, obviously.
Yeah, I think as long as there's nothing offensive, but literally, you can just blossom into colour and wear whatever you want. As long as it's not offending someone else, you can wear whatever you like. And
I've definitely seen some of my friends do that, and they're really happy about it.
Yeah, so you like that aspect of it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay. Last one for you, Leo. This is a big one, really. What's the workload like? Now, perhaps you should tell us what subjects you're doing.
So I do biology, obviously.
Yeah.
Film studies and criminology. So my workload tends to shift between all three subjects, depending on what we're doing in those subjects at the time. For example, right now I'm doing my film studies coursework, so that's taking up most of my time, but I'm still able to set aside some time to do biology independent learning. Maybe not as much as I would prefer to do, but you kind of have to prioritize.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to be doing 4.5 hours a week of independent learning, and that includes about 1.5 to 1 hour to 1.5 hours of homework that has been set by you. Per week.
Yeah. Okay. And your criminology, is that an applied course?
Yes.
So you got
half coursework, half examined.
Yeah, so you got a mixture of so biology is all exam.
Yes.
And like the criminology is 50-50.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Leo, thank you. That's great. Let's move on to Abby. And Abby, perhaps you should just start off by saying what subjects you do then.
I do biology, chemistry and maths.
Okay. I've got some questions, some teachers for you, some questions for you, Abby. Okay. Do you call your teacher sir or miss? Bear in mind, I am your teacher. Yes.
We just call our teachers by their first names, which is quite nice because it makes you feel a little bit more like an adult and a mature student.
So you prefer that because some students are a bit uncomfortable with it?
No, I have heard that some students have called their teachers not their first name, but I think you get used to it after the first week. It just becomes normal. Yeah.
I mean, I'm very happy with it as a teacher. I get uncomfortable if someone calls me sir. I do feel quite uncomfortable. One girl called me dad one time, but I think it's just because she thought I was a nice person. I wasn't her dad, but anyway. Another question for you, Abby. What was it like moving up to college from a previous school?
So personally, I felt like I was very ready to move up to college. I felt like I'd had my time at secondary school and I was really excited for change. But I know it can be quite scary, but you do settle in within the first fortnight. I think you know everything, you know where to go for your lessons and you just get used to it.
Yeah. Which was your previous school?
I went to Linton Village College.
Okay, and there's no sixth form there?
No.
Right, so it's one of those schools you had to move on somewhere.
Yeah.
And did you, you had a good look round, or was Long Road I'm just going to go to Long Road, or did you have a good look and check other places out?
I was debating between Hills and Long, but I chose to go to Long in the end just because I felt like the environment was a lot less pressurised and stressful, and all the staff seemed really, really friendly and welcoming. And I'd heard a lot of good things from people in the year above me. Okay.
Was it that sort of the atmosphere you spotted? Was that open evenings? You detected that, or just people telling you that?
It was open evenings, but also a lot of good things I'd heard.
Okay. All right. Brilliant. Abby, one more question for you. What support is there for students at Long Road?
So you have progress coaches. You don't have tutors like you might do at secondary school. And a progress coach is basically your tutor. You would go for them for not only you don't have to go to them for academic support, although they do help you with your applications for uni or apprenticeships or even jobs if that's what you want to go straight into after college. But say if you've got like something emotionally going on, you can always talk to them. But then there's also extra sessions for your subjects that are run. So if you need a little bit more help on a certain topic, you can go to them. And then you've also got academic support as well.
Have they helped you like with your university application?
Definitely. I think you as well, being my teacher, you've helped me a lot, like reading my personal statement as well. There's a lot of people that you can go to at Long Road.
Yeah, and I think it's nice. I think with the personal statement, show it to your subject teacher, show it to your progress coach, get lots of eyes on it and get lots of opinions really. And I think that's what you did, Abby, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks, Abby. That's fantastic. Much appreciated. And then let's have a chat with Kate. Now, again, Kate, do you want to perhaps start off just by telling us what subjects you're doing, apart from biology, of course?
Yeah, so I also take sociology and criminology.
Right. Okay. And I've got a question for you, Kate. Here's your first one.
Yeah.
What is the college campus like?
I really like the college campus. So all of my lessons are quite spread out. They're all in different buildings. And it took some time to get used to the layout. But like you got, there were loads of like maps and signs around on the first couple of days. And it was really easy to get around. And then we also have like the resource centre, which is great for kind of doing working, and then also the student centre, which is good for working. And then normally there's the food centre, which is nice to go sit in and everything for lunch, but we haven't got that at the moment because of COVID. So instead we've got some massive marquees outside. Yeah, I really like the campus.
Yeah, it's interesting you
to navigate.
The marquees that we've got, these two huge marquees. My son's at a school up in Huntingdon. He wouldn't come here because it was just too far to come. They haven't got any marquees. They have to stand outside in the rain. Apparently they're going to get some.
Yeah.
And I was like, but we've had them since September. And he's like, oh, well, they keep promising they're going to get us a marquee, but we still haven't got one. So yeah, I mean, the marquees are fulfilling a function, but at least we've got some, because some schools haven't. But you're right, it does mean things like the canteen at the minute aren't functioning as normal, but yeah, nothing's functioning as normal under COVID. But we're hoping, you know, come next academic year, everything will be back to normal, hopefully. Okay, next question, Kate. How is being at sixth form college different to being at school?
You get a lot more freedom at sixth form. All your teachers put a lot more trust in you than they do at secondary school. So like a lot of the time it's just like, cool, this is your work, you should go do it now. And they just kind of ensure that like they trust that you are going to do what you need to do to get through your work. So like whenever a teacher is off ill, you don't get a substitute who comes and sits with you for that whole time. You'll get someone who comes in and tells you what to do, or you'll be sent an email and it's kind of like, you're an adult now. You're like, you should know what you're doing, blah blah blah. And then it's also it feels very strange because you are given a lot more independence, as I said. So like, you don't have to be on site all the time, and you are treated more like an adult than you are secondary.
And you like that?
Yeah, I much prefer it.
Yeah. And I think as a teacher here, and I think other teachers are all the same, we do like to treat students as adults. And for 90% of the time we do, but there's always a few students, like you say, who might say, do this work, and of course they don't do it. And those are the ones, unfortunately, we have to treat them a bit more like when they were back at school, because they don't respond. You know, long roads are kind of a stepping stone to university, if that's the route you want to go. And at university, you've got to be independent. And we like for Long Road to do that. I mean, some students just take to it like a duck to water, and others need a bit of help along the way, for sure. But, you know, if you come here and you act as an adult, we will treat you as an adult and we will trust you to do the work. If you don't do it, yeah, we'll come chasing. But most students, we don't need to do that because, you know, they don't sort of, the trust we give them, they don't abuse that. Okay, Kate, last one. Was it easy to make friends? Have you made friends from different schools?
It was really easy to make friends. So So obviously you meet a lot of new people in your classes. Like most of my new friends that I've made are all from different schools to me. You obviously meet people in classes, but then you also meet people just like in tutorial sessions, like when you're sitting around in the canteen or the resource centre, you meet new people there. There's loads of clubs and things where you meet people. So yeah, it was really easy to make new friends, and all from very different backgrounds and schools.
Yeah. Which is again a real strength. I mean, it's a big college, lots of students here, but you're only ever in small groups. And I think you're right, Kate. I think, you know, if you're open to meeting new people, you will make lots of really, really good friends. Kate, thank you. That is fantastic. Looking at the time, we're out of time actually. So just for me to finish off by saying, while I've been chatting to you, I know some people have been asking questions, and one of our teachers, Mark, has been answering questions for you. But if you have asked a question tonight and you haven't got a reply, or there's something you do want to know, please get in touch with us. There's details here. Look, phone number, email address. We can answer any of your questions that you've got. So just to say thanks for attending. Thanks for being with us tonight. I was just trying to get myself back up on the screen just to say a sort of a final farewell. So we are here to help. We want the best for our students, and if we can help in any way at all, something we haven't mentioned tonight, please get in touch, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Brilliant. That's it for tonight. Thanks very much.